Welcome to the June 10th, 2026 regular meeting of the Chino Valley Fire District Board of Directors. The time is 6 o'clock p.m. I'll now call the meeting to order, and all 5 board members are here. Please stand for the flag salute, followed by the invocation. If y'all please join me with the flag salute. Ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chaplain Wong, sir.
Thank you. Let us pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you, Lord, for giving us the opportunity to come before you before our meeting this evening. We certainly don't want to neglect the fact that we want to thank you, Father, for your protection and your blessing upon our district. We want to thank you, Father, for the leadership that you have in place. We want to ask that you bless our board members and our chief, that you will continue to guide them and protect them and bless their family. Along with the blessing and help, we do want to pray, Father, for this coming fire season. We know, Father, that there are much few that's on the ground. We do pray for the protection of our first responders and firefighters, that you would give them wisdom, strength, and stamina as they prepare, Father, for this coming fire season. We also ask, Father, for your hand to provide favorable weather conditions, and that you also will provide resources in the appropriate time and amount. Please, Lord, give our chief the wisdom to plan for this season. And again, we ask, Father, for your blessing and protection of them. We pray, Father, for tonight's meeting agenda with the many items that are listed, in particular dealing with the adoption of our budget for the 26-27 fiscal year. We place, Father, all the things that are committed and discussed tonight into your hand, and it's in your Son's precious name that we pray. Amen.
Thank you. May all be seated. Clerk of the board, do we have any changes to the agenda?
No changes to the agenda.
All right. To begin tonight, we begin with a special presentation. One of the traditions of the fire service is for a recruit class or tower to present a commemorative plaque upon successfully completing probation. On behalf of the board of directors, I'm pleased to recognize Tower 12 as they present their plaque tonight. I invite members of Tower 12 and Deputy Chief Alt to come forward, please.
Since we are being filmed, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the massive audience that we have.
Yeah. Jake Arnett. Dylan Darrow, currently stationed at Station 65.
Oh, he went up, James. He
went up.
Dylan Heckel.
We just want to present the...
There's a couple more that are missing. Why don't you...
Yeah.
Who else is in your
Addison
power?
Hempstead. He's just coming back from his honeymoon. And then Nick Truelove, who just had his second child.
Hey,
Okay.
good excuse not to.
Yeah.
All right. Greg's going to join, Chief Gable's going to join us up here as well. Go ahead and tell us what you have for us.
So we're presenting this plaque to the Chino Valley Fire District on behalf of Tower 12. We completed probation last year and got this going and present it to you guys, and we're looking forward to a long and exciting career here.
And so are we. So a couple things we can say to get out in front and say thank you for all of your work. I know that probation is not an easy milestone. And it's an opportunity for not only for us to celebrate you becoming part of the family permanently. You guys had to go through quite a bit of rigorous testing to get through that process. We're very proud of you. We're very proud of the work that you've done. And I'm also very proud that our tradition has seemed that all these plaques have continued to grow every single class. And you guys have respected the wall space and kept it back down to size. So congratulations to entire tower. And on behalf of Chief Williams and everyone here at the department, thank you for this presentation of your plaque. It will be hung alongside the other plaques at the training center to celebrate that accomplishment. So thank you so much.
Chief. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Can you turn it around for us?
Yeah,
Yeah.
give them a nice show.
Yeah. That looks awesome. That's really cool.
Hand hewn from a single piece of oak.
Yes.
Yeah.
So whittled down.
Very strong movie reference in there, so. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Very proud of you.
Thanks, guys.
That was my idea.
Excellent. Hopefully you're here.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is Fire Station 68 and Essential Resource Facility Project Update, and the report tonight is by Deputy Chief Jeremy Alt.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. A brief opportunity to give you an update on where we're at. Last time I came before you, we were focusing on foundations, those kinds of things. Well, there's actually been quite a bit of progress on the station development. And once we started going what they call vertical, it's really started to take shape. So what has been completed to date? Well, if you look at our 420-day build schedule, we had 36 days of mud and rain that they had to account for. Now, some of that allowance was built into what they call float in that 420-day schedule. As of right now, they're about 16 days over, but that's actually expected to be caught up as they progress. And with that project management, there's also what's called a critical path. And things that have to be done by a certain time that other things are dependent on, they are on the critical path, and they've had a lot of great work done by the subs to make up for a lot of that mud and rain delay. So we're about 60% of the way through our 420-day build with that little bit of an extension. In our recent conversation this Tuesday, we are on track for the station to be completed by the end of November. That means that we asked them point blank, when can we expect to respond to fire engine out of that station? And with commissioning and punch lists, right now we're on track for essentially after the first of the year, which is where we want it to be and on track with everything else. So what has been completed to date? The foundations are in, underground utilities are in the holes are buried, everything's where it's supposed to be. They've poured the slab on grade concrete. They've nearly completed the entire perimeter wall, which if you've had an opportunity to drive by the site, it's one of the most impressive block walls I've ever seen. It's in fact, even where they meet corners, they've mitered those blocks. It's really impressive masonry work that they've done. The main building framing is up, and that included the major truss work. What they're working on right now is continuing to frame the main building. The ERF, the Essential Resource Facility, has really taken shape. Even week to week, we were just out there, as I mentioned, and it's really in its good shape. You can see the building's taken form. And what they're spending a lot of time on now is what they call the rough MEPs. That's mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Mechanical being like air conditioning, those kinds of things. So there's a lot of people moving through that building every day, working on those various things. What comes next? Continued framing to wrap and get the entire building built in with siding. That way they can get it weatherproofed. They're going to continue to build the Essential Resource Facility and trim it out. Finish those MEPs. They need to do some work with the gas utility. Again, those other WestNet spectrum. And then you can see that they're starting to put up the pilasters and the perimeter fencing. Here's some photos as of Tuesday. This is looking, the apparatus bays are on your right. You're looking at the front corner, which would be the battalion chief's dormitory. Essentially, that open window is where his room would be. That fake window, if you want to call it that, is the shower. And that is the main portico entry. Really interesting in talking with the architect. One of the reasons that you'll see that tall kind of entry on that left side is because, as we can see in some of these other photos, again, this is a shot from the front, the overall height, this is a view of inside the apparatus bay, and you can see the amount of truss work that has gone into making that peaked roof. Chief Gable and I were commenting that a lot of the fire stations I've seen in the past have a flat roof over the apparatus bay. The look they were looking for to really tie in with the surrounding communities has this farmhouse kind of Tuscan look. which created a lot of height over the apparatus bay. Well, because we didn't want it looking like a giant pyramid, they had to have other scaled heights on the ends, which is why you see some of that architecture on the entry, etc. Again, another look from inside the apparatus bay, looking towards the front of the station. What you can't see is the phenomenal view of the mountains out that view. This is a look from Sokol Canyon, looking at that crew side of the station and some of that perimeter wall we talked about. You can see a lot of the steel framing there. This is actually a week-old picture, but at the back side, looking at the entry on the right and the return drive to the apparatus bay on the left side of the picture there. This is some of the MEPs we were talking about. You're standing essentially in one of the bedrooms looking all the way down towards Sokol Canyon through all of the bedrooms, the successive bedrooms there. You can notice at the top, that's actually not like an exhaust fan. That's actually an individual unit that provides different temperature and air conditioning to each bedroom. Again, this is more MEPs. You can see some plumbing. You can see rough electrical, etc. This is actually a view of the architect and the project lead for the general contractor that's looking directly at the front of the ERF building. When we stand there, it doesn't look like it's big enough to hold a truck company, but it is 75 feet deep, and it'll hold the truck. Side view. Pay no attention to the white helmets in the lower left corner having a conversation. That might be me and Greg. This is standing at the very rear of the property from the base of that retaining wall looking towards the front. You can see the ERF on the right-hand side, obviously the back of the station. The very left side behind that Connex container is where the kitchen would be, and there's an open door there above those pickup trucks as where the workout facility is. So as I mentioned, quite a bit of progress to date. We are on schedule, on budget. We're processing a few change orders, which were expected. Really thankful for the work that not only our architect and the general contractor are doing, but also with TransTech as our construction management, project management firm. We're really getting our money's worth for them being that place in the middle to help make sure that our costs are accounted for and really make sure that they're acting as the owner agent to keep everybody on task. That actually concludes the presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, this was just for informational, so does any board member have any questions?
Yeah, are we, or is our contractor going to be cutting up the island, so for the exit there, or we have to get with the city to do that?
That's part of the scope of the entire project. So yeah, they essentially, they'll have right-of-way things happen when they start to need to cut the street, and then what they want to do is obviously time it that when they refinish the entire intersection, it's after we've done the work, because they have to bring, I believe, the gas line across the street and a few other things. So essentially, yes, they will be doing the work, but it'll be timed, and that entire intersection will be reconfigured when the project is completed. And it actually took quite a bit of coordination because of where the station sits at that T intersection. The return drive is not exactly at the T, nor is the apparatus drive. So we had to make a special turn lane for the westbound, and we had to do a special kind of median cut in front of the apparatus bay with like a low curb to make a left, because we were really sensitive to making sure that it didn't make a giant intersection for people to do things they shouldn't be doing with their cars and things like that. So really proud of the product, and I think the community is going to be happy with the intersection when it's all done.
Has there been any major change orders that we should be aware of, or is everything pretty much on track?
Everything is pretty much on track. We originally had there's an Edison vault in the middle of the front of the project that before we broke ground, we had quite a bit of conversation with Edison, because the original plans called to move that vault out of the driveway and into the street and then down. It actually would have incurred 7 figures just to pull new wire for that movement of that box. That didn't include digging the hole and moving the box, it was gonna cost a significant amount because of, we found out that the way that the wire poles come into that box, they were gonna have to go back and they couldn't just move them, they had to do entirely new runs. And so, long story short, we worked with Edison to keep that box in the middle of the driveway, but push it down and reinforce the top and everything. With that, we are receiving some credit, if you will, because the original, as an example, the job called for that work, and we can apply that change to different things. So far, normal processes. They had to move some wiring, they had to redo a few things that have accounted for additional costs here and there, but as again, we had actually a go back on some media equipment that originally was spec'd pretty high, and we're gonna get a credit on that, so really going back and forth on the process, and we're about even as of right now.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for the update.
You're very
Anybody
welcome.
else? Rick?
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is public hearing.
All right, we have a public hearing for properties declared for weed abatement. We'll now open that public hearing. And if we could have our Fire Marshal Daniel Toole give us a report on that, please.
Good evening, President Krieger and members of the board. At our April board meeting, Resolution 2026-01 was adopted, allowing for any properties within the district to be noticed regarding weed abatement. Our spring inspections commenced in early May, and following the inspections, property owners that were found to be in violation were sent a notice to destroy weeds. The notice outlined the violation, the reinspection date, and the penalties for failing to take action, which included administrative citation and possible abatement by our private contractor. In accordance with our resolution, we are to hold a public hearing allowing property owners to address the board on this matter. It is recommended that the Board of Directors review public comment on the declaring and noticing of property owners for weed abatement and subsequent actions and charges, as well as make any rulings on any and all objections raised regarding the proposed removal of weeds and said charges.
All right. Do we have any requests to speak on this?
We have no written request to speak on this item. Is anyone present who would like to address the board on this item at this time? Okay,
All right,
seeing none.
seeing none.
I do have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Can you come up front here, sir? Thank you. Would you mind giving us your name, please?
All right, my name is Vincent Castillo.
Thank you, sir.
I live on a property that abuts Woodview,
Uh-huh.
and there are portions of, and I honestly, I don't know exactly where the property line are, but the road actually comes up to what is like, I would consider probably what you're considering my property. And I need to know exactly what I'm responsible for in those cases, because it is extremely unsafe for anybody to be in that area because of the traffic. It is a blind corner. There is no room for cars to move over, and cars tend to speed in that area. So I need to know what part I'm responsible for, because I believe there is a leeway where the city or some other organization is responsible for a certain distance from the edge of the road. So I need to know what part I'm responsible for. And then I do have a subsequent question if we want to address that one first.
Well, the first one, we're not allowed to really comment on public comment outside of that. Our fire marshal will be more than happy to speak with you about the first question.
Okay.
And the second?
The second one is we get a notice, but, you know, I'm not an expert on what your criteria are. So I've done a lot of changes, a lot of work, spent actually quite a bit of money since I got noticed. But I'm not sure if the next inspection I'm going to be told that, yes, I'm good, or no, I'm not. And if I'm not good, do I get time to fix it? And or do I get fined right away?
Well, can I still speak here, Holland?
I think that, yes, you can. I think we probably would just say that it applies to number one on this agenda. I would just advise to maybe keep it limited and refer to
I'll
staff.
keep it limited. It's a good thing that you're here. I appreciate the fact that you're here, bringing this up. And a great thing is we have a great staff that is more than willing to work with you on those specific questions. So it shouldn't be a fear, it should be that we're here to work with you. And once again, our fire marshal will do that and gather your information from you tonight.
Great. I do have one last question. I don't know if you can address it, but my understanding is the Corps of Engineers is responsible for some of the area next to the stream that goes up next to Woodview. And I don't know if this group here can find information on that. We have been unable to get an answer from them as to what their responsibilities are and what they're going to do.
Well, Army Corps of Engineers is an interesting group, so that doesn't necessarily surprise me, but perhaps you can look into that or work with the city to help him with that one as well.
All right,
Yeah,
okay.
fantastic.
I'm his wife. Who at the city?
Fire marshal will help you out with that.
Okay.
We'll find somebody for you to talk to.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And if not, your council member in that area is Art Bennett, so, you know. And he's normally here, so he's not tonight. So. But no, it's, I'm sure she'll be able to help you out with that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, with that, the public hearing is now closed. Nobody else speaking? So the public hearing's closed. Does any board member have any questions on this? No? All right. And we need to have a motion on this, please.
Motion to approve.
So Director Evinger and Director Romaine on a second. They're asking for a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? No. No, nobody said no. I said yes as well, so 5-0 vote. Thank you. We now have a public hearing for AB 2561 to report on the fire district's vacancies, recruitment, and retention. And this public hearing is now open as well. And Anthony Arroyo, Human Resources Director, is going to give us a report on this.
Thank you, Board President Krieger. This report is required every year thanks to our wonderful California legislature and governor. Our report covers the period March 2025 through March 2026. The same period was covered March 2024 to 25 last year when I presented this report. Currently, there are no vacancies within the confidential management and Teamsters group. You will note in the report there were vacancies listed. That's because there was vacancies during that time period. But since the report has been, since the time period, those vacancies have been filled. Historically, the district does not have any problems with attracting applicants for any positions. Staff is often required to filter through numerous applications to narrow the list of those qualified to be interviewed. As a recent example, we had a position for office technician open. I believe the district received 321 applications for that position, and I believe 10 to 15 will be interviewed in the next couple of weeks. Pardon me, that was for office tech. With regard to retention, the district is fortunate to not have any retention issues. Once hired, employees do not leave either for lateral or promotional opportunities. One can attribute this to many factors, including the organizational structure, and more importantly, the Board of Directors' generosity with regard to compensation and benefits. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, do we have any requests to speak? And I'm told that I have to give special asking of the unions if you have any requests to speak on this. And JT was just here, wasn't he? No? Okay. With that, we will close the public hearing on this, and any board member have any questions on this?
My only question, but he already answered it, because I was gonna ask, what are our 2 vacancies? But for confidential, no.
Yeah, that was just for your information. That was for the accountant and deputy clerk of the board.
All right, so with that, this is a receive and file. There's no vote required on this. So with that, we will just do that. Next, we will do a public hearing to adopt the Chino Valley Fire District fiscal year 2026-27 original budget. That is now open. And Director Mark Shaker, please, sir.
Thank you. The fiscal year 27 original budget document represents the culmination of a collaborative budget development process, which officially kicked off last December, and we held a budget workshop on May 27th at the training center. The budget includes a financially balanced spending plan that will see the completion of Fire Station 68 through the utilization of about $13.3 million in restricted funding. It's anticipated that the total impact on unrestricted reserves for the completion of the project will be approximately $6.4 million. Total revenues and expenditures are budgeted at $66.6 million and $80.1 million respectively. Unrestricted ending fund balance is projected to be $39.6 million at June 30, 2027. Property tax-related revenues are forecasted at a year-over-year growth rate of 4.3% over the estimated actuals for fiscal year 26, and total operating expenditures are anticipated to increase by 2% over the fiscal year 26 forecasted amounts. The budget document is attached to the staff report and contains a wealth of general information regarding the district, as well as detailed information regarding the next year's proposed budget. Upon adoption, a copy of the final budget will also be made available online at the district's website. It is recommended that the Board of Directors review, approve, and adopt Resolution 2026-09 to formally adopt the fiscal year 2026-2027 original budget. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Do we have any requests to speak from the public on this? Mr. Blank?
I'll make it easy, Mr. Shaker. Are you in the red or in the black for next year's budget?
We have a planned expense of our reserves to complete the station, otherwise we'd be in the black.
So in other words, the reserve could put you in the red if you have to spend it.
We are going to have to
Yes.
spend part of the reserve on the fire station to complete it.
Yep.
But if
But overall, you're in the black.
Yes, excluding the station.
excluding the station, which we anticipated. Anybody else? All right, without the public hearing sound closed, any board member have any questions on this? Have we beat this one to a dead horse enough?
We had a special, as if the public's listening, we have a special meeting already where we went over this pretty in-depth, so there's no new questions. Even though I told you I was gonna ask you 50 new questions, I was just tricking you. Just joking.
All right, with that, I'd like to request a motion.
So moved.
Director Howie and Director Luth to second, and we're going to request a roll call vote. Director Luth,
Yes.
Director Evinger,
Yes.
Director Romaine,
Aye.
Vice President Howie,
Aye.
and myself is a yes, so 5-0 vote.
Thank you. The next item is public communications. This is the time and place for the general public to address the Board of Directors about subjects that do not appear elsewhere on the agenda. The public may address items on the agenda at the time addressed by the board, and due to board policy and Brown Act requirements, action may not be taken on any issue not on the agenda. When you address the board, please state your name and address prior to making your remarks, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. I have no written request to speak. Would anyone like to address the board under public communications at this time? Okay, seeing none. The next item is liaison reports to Fire District, and we invite President Mark Bozak, Chino Valley Fire Foundation.
Good afternoon, President Krieger, members of the board, executive staff. Liaison report for the Fire Foundation is, we want to thank everyone who attended this year's car show. It was a sold-out event. We made over $16,000 this year, which is the highest that we've ever brought in at the car show. A special thanks to all the staff and volunteers who came and helped out, and for all of you who showed up to support the event. We did some community assistance recently. We had a structure fire down in Two's area, and we provided some monetary donations to the family who was impacted by the fire. Thank you to our community for supporting the foundation and allowing us to continue to help families in need. We don't have any upcoming events, but we always encourage the public that you can always make donations on our website, on the Chino Valley Fire Foundation website. So, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Car show was great.
No softball game this year?
Next, we invite Chair Charlie Blank, Fire Safe Council.
I don't have anything, thank you.
Okay. I believe that concludes our liaison reports for tonight. The next item is the consent calendar.
All right, we have the consent calendar, items number 1 through 6. Do we have any public comment on the consent calendar? Seeing none, we'll move it back to the board. Anybody wish to pull an item on 1 through 6? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Director Evinger
Second.
and Director Romaine. Voice vote, please. So all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. 5-0 vote for the affirmative. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is under new business, item number 7, general district election to be held on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2026. Purpose of this report is for the Board of Directors to review and adopt resolution number 2026-10, calling for and consolidating the general district election to be held on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2026 for the election of certain officers of the Chino Valley Independent Fire District Board of Directors. And I'll be providing the report tonight. As noted in the staff report, the fire district will conduct a general district election for the purpose of electing members of the Board of Directors from Divisions 3 and 5, each for a full term of 4 years. And in connection with this election and pursuant to Elections Code, the board is asked to consider approval of Resolution 2026-10 to call for and consolidate this election. Resolution number 2026-10 calls for and gives notice of the election of the officers, requests services from the County of San Bernardino for conducting the election, and identifies that candidates shall be responsible for the costs associated with publication of the candidate's statement of qualifications. District Legal Counsel has reviewed and approved the resolution for compliance. The recommendation is for the board to review, approve, and adopt said resolution 2026-10, calling for and consolidating this election. Additionally, just want to note that the included with the staff report is a general district election calendar that notes the various dates leading up to election day, as well as the December 3rd date that is noted for the registrar of voters to complete the canvass and certify the results of this election. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, do we have any requests to speak on this exciting item? Seeing none, any time for board members to make a comment? And no? All right, we need to pass this one as well, so motion on this.
I make a motion to accept this resolution.
And second?
I'll second these.
Excellent, Director Evinger. She would like a roll call vote on this because it's so exciting. Director Luth,
Yes.
Director Evinger,
Aye.
Director Romaine,
Aye.
Vice President Howie,
Yes.
myself, yes, 5-0 vote. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is item number 8, resolution number 2026-11, and agreement number 3CA07225 with the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, CAL FIRE. The report tonight is by Deputy Fire Chief Jeremy Alt.
Good evening again, everyone. The item before you is essentially a renewal of our annual contract with CAL FIRE for the provision of wildfire protection, firefighting protection. As you're aware, we maintain a contract with CAL FIRE that encompasses about 12,000 even acres spread throughout the wildland areas throughout the district. We renew this agreement annually. This year, the total encumbrance or the total expenditure would be $639,642.60. Now, the natural question is, what do we get for that money? Well, first, understanding how that money is broken down. The way that the state calculates their rate is a $1 per acre base rate plus an administrative rate for a total overall $1 per acre rate. The way that they calculate that, and I confirm with our contacts at CAL FIRE, is they essentially take a 5-year average of all the costs that they call with the 09 fund, which is what they incur at the state level to manage the fire, whether it's food, engines, etc. They take a total accounting of their expenditures. They compare that as a ratio to the total number of acres burned. That comes up with a base rate. So the base rate for this year's contract is a rate of $47.55 per acre. They calculate a 12.1% admin rate. That's actually an admin rate provided to CAL FIRE from the state. So CAL FIRE, our local San Bernardino unit, has no control over that admin rate that's calculated. But when you take that $5.57 per acre admin rate combined with the base rate, the total rate acreage is $53.31. As I mentioned, that's per acre calculated at 12,000 even. Now, what's really interesting is that our costs this year have gone down from the previous year. Again, because it's a 5-year average, my speculation on this part, and it's purely speculation, is that 2020 has dropped out of that 5-year, which was a very expensive year during COVID. Chief Gable and I actually spent a lot of time up north. We had our own Blue Ridge fire, the Silverado. We had it was a very, very busy fire year, so that's one of the reasons likely that the actual base rate has gone down. The admin rate has slightly increased, but overall the total dollar per acre is less. In fact, we kind of gathered some stats just to understand. In 2021, we were sitting right at about $450,000 for the total cost, and that was with a different acreage. If you remember, in 2023-24, I worked with CAL FIRE to renegotiate and redraw our lines to provide some better landmarks, made a little bit more sense geologically and geographically how our contract fit. So we reduced to an even 12,000 acres for that cost. So essentially over the last 5 years, we've increased about $200,000 roughly overall. Addition to that, when we're talking about what do we get for our money, essentially the state agrees to treat that acreage that they protect as if it were their own. And as a result, not only is the area that we contract for treated as protected by the state, but there's an agreed upon area around the outside of that called a mutual threat zone, that if a fire occurs in that area as well, the state comes to the table and brings those same assets in suppression efforts. So if you recall, just a few weeks ago, maybe a week and a half too, we had the Grand Fire, which occurred off of Grand Avenue near Tres Hermanos. That fire was roughly 36 acres. About the fire actually overlaid a part of our contract area and a part of the mutual threat zone. It actually kind of split the fire roughly in half. But when it came to the suppression efforts, CAL FIRE actually covered all of their costs in relationship to their response as part of our contract. If we didn't have that contract with them, they would not have responded to that area because it's in that mutual threat zone. So they keep a pretty good accounting of their costs. Their costs for their own resources for that 36-acre 3-day fire totaled about $200,000. Our costs were on top of that. We also had LA County resources, which are through mutual aid because of the threat to their area as well. But just as an example of some of how that return on investment comes back to the district and how we also work with our partners to make sure that what we bring to the table helps offset some of those costs. So again, from staff's perspective, this really is a good long-term investment for what we provide to the community because it does bring with it helicopters and aircraft fixed wing and dozers and those kinds of things that if we chose to do that on our own, we could. But again, it's about return on investment and how we spend the public's money and is there a better way to do it to maximize that return on investment. As I mentioned, it was a decrease in cost, and the district budgeted for this in the fiscal year 26-27 budget, which you just adopted. With that, I believe that concludes that portion, so I'll go ahead and read the recommendation. Oh, as far as your packet goes, you do have a copy of the actual contract itself, a signature page, and then on the dais, as part of our administrative function, we include a letter of intent for next year. That wasn't included in the packet, but it's on the dais for your view that the chief will sign as well. With that, I'll read the recommendation. It is recommended that the Board of Directors adopt Resolution Number 2026-11, approving Agreement Number 3CA0722 between the Chino Valley Independent Fire District, the district, and California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, CAL FIRE, for wildland fire protection services from July 1, 2026 to June 30, 2027. Authorize the board president to sign and execute the agreement on behalf of the district, and authorize the fire chief to sign the letter of intent for continuation of services. This concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, do we have any public comments on this? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board for board comments.
I got a couple questions. The Willow Fire was also in our contract zone?
Great question. The answer is actually no. The Willow Fire was not in our contract area, and it was also not in the mutual threat zone. We actually got an extra benefit, if you will, in that case because of what the winds were doing and the potential for ember spread. CAL FIRE did respond because even though it wasn't in the agreed upon mutual, literally Sokol Canyon was the divider. And because of the way that the wind was blowing, it presented a threat to the threat, if you will. So they responded, and we did not incur any cost for that mutual aid response.
Yeah, because their copter did a lot of work there.
Absolutely.
My other question is, I don't know if it was earlier this year or late last year, the city of Chino Hills approached the state park and they asked for an audit of all the stuff. Have we ever liaisoned or met with the city to see the results of that audit about the state park property and how it would impact this? Because because we know this property's between
It's a mix.
SRF and
Yeah, great question.
ORF.
I can't speak to whether we followed up with the city specifically regarding the audit. What I can speak to is when several of us went to Sacramento to speak to some of our legislators, we did actually take the time as a group to sit down with folks from the state parks and really have the conversation that because the nuance is that our contract is bigger than the state park, but the state park is obviously state land within our contract area. So we did take the time to really explore the nuance with the state parks folks and say like, hey, does this really make sense that a local government would be using taxpayer money to offset response into a state park? And so we feel like we had great contact with them. We opened some doors for further conversation, and they referred us back to local staff to continue those conversations. And we look forward to continuing that conversation that we had together with them, really looking to understand how, even if possible, there might be some offsets. Where, as an example, we have other state facilities within our district, i.e. the prisons, that we spend quite a bit of staff time and response to serve that part of our community. However, as you're aware, the prison system does not necessarily contribute back through property tax to us. So we're really looking at opportunity, obviously with the board's direction and support, to really leverage those opportunities to recover some of those costs.
Thank you.
I see between the contract area and the mutual threat zone, it covers about 90% of the city of Chino Hills. Completely, with really just a couple corridors off the 71 being the outline. And, you know, I certainly appreciate the relationship we have with CAL FIRE. Is this still the largest contract that CAL FIRE has with an agency?
Yeah, to my knowledge, it's the largest single, what they call a WPA, Wildfire Protection Agreement. It's the largest acreage WPA in the state as of right now. That's part of, I think, the balance of having a beautiful community that has wildland areas. With that comes the responsibility to manage that. So we're blessed to have that area, but also it comes with that extra responsibility.
Yeah, I also find it ridiculous that we have to pay to cover a state park, regardless of what boundary it's in, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Anybody else?
Nope, I just want to thank you, Jeremy, for answering my questions and getting additional information. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've beat this up over the years, and,
Yeah.
And we'll
but
continue to.
it has proven to be of incredible value, so.
All right, with this time, we'd like to request a motion.
Motion to approve?
Director Evinger, and the second, I'll second it. And a roll call vote on this one as well. So Director Luth,
Yes.
Director Evinger,
Aye.
Director Romaine,
Aye.
Vice President Howie,
Aye.
myself, a yes, so 5-0 votes. With this, we're going to go on to the deputy chief's comments versus the fire chief. And the chief apologized for not being here tonight. He had a family issue.
Yeah.
So,
And thank you very much for the opportunity to serve in his stead this evening. It's been enjoyable. So I'll keep my comments brief this evening, just a few updates. One that didn't make the list because we literally, Chief Gable and his team, working with HR just before the board meeting, we were able to post an additional recruitment for firefighter paramedic. So that literally just opened minutes before the board meeting. So nice update there. And thank you to the work from HR and from Chief Gable and the team to get that up and running. For personnel development activities, we had our USAR team conduct what we call a HURT team training. The HURT team training, in addition to the point here with REMS, the HURT team is a hospital emergency response team. We worked with our USAR team at our rubble pile and actually had teams from physicians from Loma Linda and Arrowhead Regional come out and work together. The HURT team is something that is staffed up and ready to deploy, but very, very rarely gets used. Essentially, it's physicians that come out in the field and perform advanced procedures. Like the simulation was a rubble pile, like a collapse of a parking structure, and that had people trapped, so they actually simulated amputations. So it's a great opportunity to work with staff and with those other teams to really promote our training center and do great work. They actually use like lamb shanks and different things like that to get in there and do that work. Addition to that, personnel participated in REMS training focused on advanced rope rescue and firefighter survival operations. That's essentially when we do off-road rescue or mountain type rescue for firefighters on wildland responses. The district conducted its annual RT-130 wildland firefighter training over the course of 3 days. Ironically, in the middle of that training, we experienced the Grand and the Willow fires, so a lot of the folks that we work with from the cities were actually present on site, i.e. The city manager, staff, to help make sure that we work as a unified messaging. And we're pleased to report that we got a lot of positive feedback from the community about the messaging that went out during those two fires, much of that led by our PIO De Guevara here. Organizational items of interest: the district purchased an EV firefighting response unit equipped with the Cold Cut Cobra system. We're all really dying to use that name in other contexts, but we did have a chance to deploy that on the Grand Fire and use it, and we got a lot of great press out of that as well. And thank you to Supervisor Hagman for his support and also the support of the board to make that operational. As mentioned previously, HR opened the recruitment for office technician assigned to the clerk of the board's office. 321 applicants received. Most qualified will be interviewed the week of June 22nd. As I've mentioned a couple times, under emergency response and support, our crews responded in unified command to the Grand Fire. We worked really well together, as well as those other agencies that came to the table. What was unique for us on the Grand Fire was we had a lot of night flying helicopter action, which was really, as that continues to evolve. That fire started right around, well, we were actually in the last board meeting, and thank you to Natalie for texting me while we were sitting here as we were wrapping up that this fire was going. We already had our battalion chiefs and crews respond. But our normal aircraft cutoff is about 7 p.m. for fixed wing, so it was really good that we had that mutual aid aircraft respond. We had the Chinook, the large Colson airship out there with 3,000 gallons. We had several LA County ships. We had CAL FIRE ships. We had quite the air show at night, which is new and unique, and the first time we've used it here in the district. A lot of great work that helped keep that fire small. Additionally, crews responded to the Willow Fire on Sokol Canyon and Slate, which we mentioned before, and Brush Engine 62 responded on mutual aid to support firefighting operations with the Verona incident. As we were fighting the Willow Fire, we had quite a bit of reaction when we saw a large column of smoke just over the hill from the Willow Fire, which was actually a riverbed fire burning way out in Riverside, with putting up a large column, and then there was an additional fire that we responded to on mutual aid. So for our upcoming events, a few, as mentioned previous, we're happy to participate in Assemblymember Rodriguez's second annual summer barbecue on June 20th. And we're really looking forward to the Chino Fireworks Spectacular on June 27th, which we will continue to support with a medic cart and engine company and squad, et cetera. That actually concludes my comments for this evening, and thank you for that opportunity.
Fantastic. Any questions for the chief? All right, we'll move on to board member comments, and we'll start with Director Harvey Luth.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so a lot of the usual meetings, ASBCSD, Chino Council, Verizon ribbon cutting, attended the Chino Memorial Day event, Confire Board meeting, budget workshop, oral Hershiser, ribbon cutting. That was quite spectacular. It was quite an event. Glad that we were there. Fire Foundation car show was great. It was really nice to see one of Ralph Berger's cars there. His service tomorrow, but that was really good to see that there. Such a loss. The county communications center, where Confire will soon relocate. We all got a chance to go there for that ribbon cutting and tour it. We had a meeting with CIW yesterday, so they have a new acting warden, Sonia Padilla, and so we found out. Andrew asked how long it takes. About 2 years to get through the process to actually be approved as the warden, not the acting warden.
State efficiency.
Yeah, it's so, and about the time they get the A gone.
And they move to another acting.
Yeah, right, they go into retirement there, yeah, so it's kinda crazy. We're still not sure if there's gonna be another graduation class in June. June 22 is when it was scheduled, but there's a lot of question about that. So we'll see, tour, we're working on getting a little tour going of the facility as well. So it was a good meeting. Let's see here. Condolences to Mark, to you, your family, and your loss. Sorry to hear about that. Congratulations to Tower 12, outstanding. And I appreciate, because I forgot until you mentioned it, the USAR training drill. I know Ethan sent that kind of last minute, but I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did, because I had a chance to go. It was really cool to sit there and watch and see what was going on and see how everybody worked together. I was just blown away by it. Listening to the doctors, the things that they're considering, some of the explanations Jeremy you gave me and others were giving me about what's going on and why. It's just fascinating. And yeah, I understand it's rare, especially in
Really
these
funny
days.
story there. One of the skills they were doing was intubation, where you put a tube in somebody's lungs. And so Chief Gable and I had opportunity to kind of watch over this couple stations and help out. And as we're standing there, one of the physicians in this group saw the mannequin on the ground and remarked out loud, "Oh, this is interesting. I've never intubated someone on the ground before."
Yeah.
And I chuckled to myself, and then I said, "Well, that's interesting, because I've always only intubated people on the ground." And so it was a really good interaction of their skills that normally are in a very controlled environment. So we were able to have the conversation, and I actually got them down on the ground and worked with them to intubate, and it was really neat to hear the physician's remark about how it gave me an opportunity to highlight the work that our paramedics do, because the physicians are normally in that environment, so we had an opportunity to highlight, no, like our firefighter paramedics, they do this every day. And I think it increased their empathy for the work that gets done by our folks, and it really highlights the work that our people do to those people in those controlled environments. So it was a great opportunity.
Yeah, I happened to be standing there when that whole bit was going on, and yeah, just that. I mean, the reality of this, how things were presented. There's noise. It was just awesome. So I'm glad I was able to go and see that. I appreciate that opportunity, and that's the end of my comments.
All right, thank you. Director Evinger.
Okay, so, let's see here, where do I start, right? So our special board meeting, which we all attended, our budget workshop. I also attended McKesson Operation Manager Volunteer Day. That was a lot of fun. It was awesome doing those care packages for our service members. They did a really good job. next year we'll be able to, now that we understand, maybe invite more of the community. And they had a nice turnout, but more of our community, because I know there was Target employees and who else? And Tom, there was Target.
Bank of America had
Bank of
employees,
America.
McKessa had
Yeah.
employees.
But, yeah, it'd be nice to get our community.
Yeah, it's a, since then the executive director sent me an email, probably sent you one too, very, very appreciative. That was their first time coming out to the public, so it was a kind of a trial to see, and it went exceptionally well. And I since have talked to board member Kurt Burton about it, and they were like, hey, we could have all, we could have made it much bigger. With their police could have, they showed up, but they could have cooked. We could have had more members there, so it was, yeah.
3,000 bags,
3,000 care packages, which is what you guys, they're building the care packages to get delivered to the strike team base camps. So.
It's really cool.
So I built your package next time you guys go out there.
I knew what you did. I've also had numerous CSEA Professional Development Committee meetings, going over the 92 submissions for the awards. And it's a lot of work. And then we had our final meeting where we reviewed the finalists and we selected people to be awarded at our annual
Conference.
CSEA conference. Thank you. I'm a little tired. Chino Hills Council meeting. I also attended the grand opening ribbon cutting for Oral Hershiser Chevrolet, the car show, which was awesome. I made a comment that my granddaughter has been to more car shows in her less than 3 years of life than any little girl that I know. And she loves it. She loves going. So the ribbon cutting ceremony for Valley Communications Center, oh my goodness, what an absolutely spectacular and amazing facility. I mean, beyond, and I just can't wait till it's staffed and ready to go. President Krieger and I had an opportunity to talk to Sheriff Dykes, and he shared a lot of information with us, and just like, wow, they put that together pretty quick. They were able to pull that together, so that was amazing. I was really, really impressed with our technology there. Our Fire Safe Council meeting, the Chino Hills State of the City, and this weekend Chino in action, reaching new heights. And it was wonderful to see, of course, our apparatus as always, but to be able to see the helicopter up close and personal, that was a really nice treat. It was a really nice event, very, very nice event. And I also want to congratulate and thank our Tower 12 presentation tonight. It's another beauty. We keep getting these beautiful plaques to put up on the wall. And thank you for the update on our fire station and essential resource. And I see that Danielle isn't here, but I just want to thank all staff. I know that our weed abatement, it's a tedious, it's a lot of work, and I just want to thank everyone. I know it isn't, it's a thankless job. We're grateful for it, but I know that a lot of people aren't happy when we show up and we are citing them and such to become compliant. So thank you, everybody, for that. And that'll be all. Thank you so much.
Excellent, thank you. Director Romaine.
Well, I've attended much of the same things. Started with the Operation Gratitude, like we already said, that was building care packages for all the first responders. Went to the ASBC SD meeting where Sheriff Dykes got to talk to us there and explain some stuff. I think one of the things he brought up that, and being that the sheriff's is a contractor, Chino, is they've deployed to Victorville and Yucaipa. They have roof-mounted drones with integrated with dispatch. So as soon as somebody calls 911, that drone goes up and goes, and like they're getting real-time feedback like within 60 seconds to help with what they're sending out. So that'll be something to keep an eye on, just to help out. pretty interesting using all that technology.
Ontario already has that in the valley.
Do they? Okay. Couple of San Marino's, Board of Supervisor meetings, those are, they did their budgets a little bit bigger than ours. And they break it up, like it's like 6 budgets they have to go through and approve. You'd really like it. You have to do it over and over and over. So they got that going. Went to the school district meeting. That actually went pretty quick. The podium lectern thing has seemed to move along, and now they're on to something else. Couple ribbon cuttings, the Chino Memorial Day event, the budget workshop, Oral Hershiser, that was, the best part was Philip Chen's field rep talking about the Angels there in front of all the Dodgers. They booed him and stuff, but you know what? I give him credit for standing up there in front of all those people.
Picking up the phone.
Yeah. Hey, he
We didn't have our
he
team.
did good. I went to the Fire Foundation car show, you know, thanks for putting that on. I was curious because I know Natalie should run the table, it seems like we got a lot more product to sell, or you guys do, is that working out really well, the shirts and the hats and stuff? It seems,
Yeah.
because I saw a lot of people there doing it, and it's simple with the card, and I think, you know, the community looks at us as the same. The community thinks the Fire Foundation, the Fire District, that we're one and the same. So thanks for doing it, and it makes it a really good impact. Communication Center was awesome. I mean, makes our little microphone and our iPads look way outdated. Like they got color changing lights on their everything. It's pretty trick. Went to Chino Hills, State of the City, Chino in action, as Director Evinger said. What was, like, we were there, and Mike and I we stayed there just a little too long, and then then we had to stand up there behind them as they gave all their presentations. But it worked out because Senator Rubio was there, Supervisor Hagman, Senator Rodriguez's rep was there, so we did what we do best. We rubbed elbows with them and talked about our needs, and you know, did what we're supposed to do. And then finally, yesterday with Director Luth, Chino Institute for Women and Men. One of the things that the women are going to start, they brought up, and I don't know how we need to probably be aware, is they're going to start doing all their GI procedures on site there. So they're going to be doing all the colonoscopies and endoscopies. I don't know if that's been in the past. You know, they're doing that. I don't know what that's going to entail for us if their anesthesia goes wrong, if they're, you know, if they're doing drugs and they go in for one and it contraindicates. You know, you can see all the potential things, but so I wanted to make you guys aware of that they were all excited they're going to be doing that, but that's what's going on. And then the men's, they are now up to 2,677 inmates there.
2,000, you said?
2,677.
Wow.
They've opened up the previously closed facility D, and they already have 511 in there. So, we sit on that with Councilman Lucio, and he hammers them pretty good about this stuff, about their ankle breaking rocks and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's but their 50-bed mental health facility that was supposed to be open has now been delayed again till July or August. So, and that will be, originally it was supposed to be immediate need. Now they've expanded it to potentially having mental health people there for up to 6 months. So, as everything, the goalpost keeps moving with them. So, and that's concludes my comments.
Director Luke?
Just one more thing, because I did look down here further. The other thing that they mentioned is that Cal Fire Prado Camp there's some construction project
Yeah,
going on?
they're gonna supposedly rehab that whole facility there, to like, multi-million, it was
Yeah,
like,
It was gonna be a big project,
It's
so.
likely when they transition to
probably
this.
with all our money from the contract.
When they transitioned to the Sikorsky platforms, there was quite a bit of discussion about really investing back into the heli-attack portion of that. That's likely what it's interesting how long that project has taken, but also things that they had to factor, whereas, as an example, the power lines across the street, there's a particular angle that helicopters have to be able to fly at and not impact the wires, so that impacted where they put the building and everything else. So we've had several of our contacts, they were stationed as the division chief of that camp and then have moved on to much higher stations in the state. They've been working on that project for a number of years.
So changes are coming there, whatever they are.
Yeah, we want to reassure the board that we are in contact with both prisons, especially with the 900-bed facility. We attended several meetings with them. We had battalion chiefs go out and make sure they understood where the access points were. And we're continuing, especially as we ramp up with the implementation of the ambulance program, to make sure we're in contact with them so we work out those operations.
Excellent. Director Howie.
Okay, thank you. Speaking of the men's prison, I remember years ago when they used to have about 4,000 inmates there, that the gymnasium had bunks in there. They put 300 or 400 people just in the gym in those days. And I remember after that, they had to clear all the asbestos out of the prison, so that must have been real healthy in there too. But their population had gone down quite a bit, but it looks like it's gaining, getting back to more numbers, but anyway. Which means more service for us, I guess, unfortunately. Anyway, I attended just about everything everybody else did, although I have to mention them. I think one of the good things was the last month, we had some really good weather. You know, you can't, I mean, now we're gonna get into the warm part of the season for a lot of our events, but our weather the last month has been really, really good. But as you can see this week, things are starting to heat up. I think summer's on its way. I attended McKesson, Hagman's Open House, the Chino Memorial Day service, which was, they've really got that Memorial Day service down pretty good now. I mean, years ago, that service used to be a little shaky, but, because it seemed like the American Legion, the president of the Legion, he could never, you know, he'd always skip over parts of the agenda, he'd mispronounce people's names, it was pretty crazy. But the city's helped out quite a bit, and that's a really, if you haven't been to that event, that's a great event. We also have, in Chino, we also have the Veterans Day one in November, and that isn't done by the Legion, it's done just by the city. And that's a really good event too. So those two events are very moving, and they're very worthwhile. So if you ever get a chance to attend them, do that. Met with the chief, board workshop was good, Hershiser's grand opening. I've never seen a parade for a new business in town. That was pretty interesting. But Oral Hershiser is a big name. Maybe they can rescue that Chevrolet dealer who, you know, if you've driven by it in the last 5 years, you didn't see too many cars out there. They weren't selling a lot of cars, and Chevy wasn't giving them much inventory, so hopefully it'll be better for the city. I think with Oral's name, can't hurt for Chevy sales, and also that's a good tax revenue generator for the city, obviously, from that point. Car show, great car show, weather was perfect, I really enjoyed it, some great cars out there, and you guys did a good job. So the two big fundraisers for the foundation is the car show and St. Patty's Day event, right? Those are the two. So we're not gonna have a softball game probably this year.
Usually, if we do, it'll be in November, fall, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so maybe a softball game, boxing tournament maybe, yeah, who knows, right? We'll see what happens with that.
I think we're kinda hoping the boxing thing was a one and done.
It goes away.
I don't think anybody wants to fight Phil again.
Alright, okay. Yeah, right, nobody won, I wouldn't, that's for sure. Anyway, so Confire, the ribbon cuttings, State of the Cities, all that stuff was, we had a very busy month. That concludes my comments.
All right. I'm gonna make mine a lot shorter. I attended everything everybody else attended. And gave out great certificates to people, and it was a lot of fun. Ben Montgomery, city manager, retired city manager from Chino Hills, sent us a very nice note thanking us for the cooperation with the city for all the years and being good partners together. So we wish him well. The car show was fantastic. Really enjoyed it. I really want to thank everybody for the work on the Grand Fire and Willow Fire. It was dealt with very quickly and contained. I have friends that were evacuated in the Grand Fire, and the communication was good, and they were back in their house by midnight or so that night. So really appreciative of that. And the Tower 12, what a great plaque they designed and created for the fire district. I think that's great. And Fire Dispatch, the county communications, what an awesome building. You know, when you watch television and you see what dispatch centers look like on a TV show, you know, I've been in the sheriff and in our dispatch, and I laugh because it's nowhere close to that. But that's what this looks like now. It's going to be really cool, very high tech, and as Andy mentioned, you know, with drone capabilities and you know tapping into Caltrans cameras, there's a lot of real time data, and utilizing AI. There's some really cool stuff that are going to be very helpful for dispatching for the future. So with that, we'd like to close our meeting in memory of Ralph Berger, a retired Chino Valley fire captain whose dedication to the fire district continued long after his retirement. Ralph remained an active part of our fire family and attended many district events over the years, including our traditional push-in ceremonies, a fire service tradition that honors those who came before us and symbolizes our commitment to serving the community with new apparatus. We honor Captain Berger's service, friendship, and lasting connection to the Chino Valley Fire District. On behalf of the Board of Directors and the entire fire district, we extend our heartfelt condolences to his family and all who knew and loved him. The meeting will be adjourned to a regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the Chino Valley Independent Fire District to be held on July 8th, 2026 at 6 o'clock here at the district headquarters office. And with that, we will be adjourned. Thanks.